the most painful experience in my life, but it was also the most empowering experience in my life. I feel like I can conquer anything now. Welcome back to the BeeneMomLife channel. I'm back. I took a break because this little one was being born. I wanted to make a video to introduce Rose Mary Ellen Beene. Say hi. She was born on the 17th of January. That morning at about 6 o'clock in the morning, I started having contractions. Now, I've been having practice contractions for almost 5 weeks. And these weren't just like Braxton Hicks type contractions, which are just almost like, it's just like your entire abdomen tightens for a few seconds up to a couple minutes and then goes away. And typically if you change positions or move or do anything, they dissipate. These were not like that. These were much more like genuine contractions. They were 5 minutes apart, at least 30 seconds long, and they would have the wave of a typical contraction. So they would start off not very painful, and then they would peak. Oh yes, okay, I'll get you some food. They would have a peak, and then they would go down afterwards. Are you hungry? Would you like some food? Okay. So I had been having like what felt like actual contractions for about 5 weeks, like I said. So that morning when I started having contractions, I didn't really think anything of it. I'd even had contractions for like an hour at a time where they were consistent, 30 seconds long, 5 minutes apart for over an hour, and it never turned into actual labor. So when I started having contractions at 6 a.m. On the 17th, I didn't really think a whole lot of it. I just, got my contraction timer out and I timed them like I had been doing. But I did go ahead and have Christopher ask if Christopher could work from home that day, just because I hadn't had contractions during the day before. They had always been at night. I was having contractions all day long. So I was texting my midwife and, just communicating what was going on and stuff. And I think that she felt like it was actual labor. So she had me go for a couple walks around my neighborhood just to see if things would, progress if I did that or if they stayed the same. So she came and checked me in the afternoon, and I was only 2 centimeters dilated and I was hardly effaced at all. So she decided to go ahead and leave, and then if I progressed further in my labor, she would come back later that night. So eventually they did start to get, honestly, probably by like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was pretty late. They did start to get more intense. They were still 30 seconds long, but they were much more intense, where I would have to stop what I was doing and just focus on breathing. So that went on probably for even a couple more hours, and then eventually it was around 6 or 7 o'clock when Christopher and I decided that this was the real deal. They weren't stopping. They were getting really intense. We told our midwife to go ahead and head over. I guess I should clarify. By the way, we were having a home birth. That's why we weren't just stressing out and going to the hospital. We were just kind of chilling at home, and then, with a home birth, it's really nice because you can just call the midwife. They come to you. You don't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to worry about laboring in the car or anything like that, so that was awesome. At around 8 o'clock, she came and she checked me again, and at that point I was 5 centimeters dilated, and I was 75% effaced. I was truly in active labor at about 8 o'clock. Contractions were at that point, they were still 5 minutes apart. Most of them were over a minute long, and they were getting very intense. Around probably 10:30 or 11, I was laboring on the floor with a pregnancy ball, and I remember just telling Christopher in my very limited speech, because I could not process more than 2 thoughts at a time. I remember telling him, I just feel like she's right there. She is right there, ready to be born. I did not say it in that many words. I'm pretty sure I just said, I think she's right there. I think she's right there. I labored for a little bit longer, and then I told the midwife, she's just right there. I can feel her. She's right there. And at that point, my contractions were very painful. They were very, very close together. I don't even know how close together they were. They felt like they were coming one right after the other with hardly any breaks in between. Roxanne, our midwife, was like, I think we're farther along than what we thought we were. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that's what I've been trying to tell you by saying that she is right there. I can feel her right there. And so she got me up onto the bed and checked me again, and I was 9 centimeters fully effaced, and said she could feel my waters, my bag of waters was just right there, bulging at the entrance, just about ready to break. And so she was pretty confident that as soon as my water broke, I would be pushing very shortly after. I labored in the bed for a while, and then my water broke in the bed. It was kind of shocking for me, but with that, I got a little bit of a break. My contractions kind of backed off a little bit, and I was able to get a couple of deep breaths in before I started having. I had a couple more contractions after my water broke, and then it was, I feel like I need to start pushing. I got up onto the bed and just on all fours. That felt the most comfortable to me, and I was able to, when you're lying on your back, you're relying solely on your abdominal muscles and the contractions to push your baby out. So I felt like being on all fours, I felt like I was able to, leverage my entire body to be able to push more effectively. I'm not even sure how long I pushed for. I only pushed for probably 15-20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. It felt like forever, but I know it couldn't have been that long. I pushed for a while, and then her head came out, and then one of her shoulders kind of got stuck, and the midwife was able to turn her and get her shoulder out, and then she was born. It was very weird because I had an epidural with Jacob, and even though it only took on half of my body, I wasn't really able to feel him being born, really. But with Rose, I really was able to feel everything. So I knew when her head came out, and I knew that she wasn't coming out all the way because I had to push a couple more times for her to be born the rest of the way. She was born at 11:45 p.m. The most painful experience in my life, but it was also the most empowering experience in my life. I feel like I can conquer anything now. I went through all that pain, and I came out just fine on the other side. It was an amazing experience. I'm so glad that we did a home birth. I didn't have to worry about laboring in the car, didn't have to worry about, if it was false labor, I didn't have to worry about them having to be induced. I didn't have to worry about all the sicknesses that are in hospitals. It took a lot off of my mind of things that I was worried about. So yeah, after she was born, I got to hold her, and I got to have her on skin-to-skin contact for over an hour, and she got to nurse for the first time and didn't have to worry about her being pulled away, and yeah, she got to just sit with me for a whole hour. We did delayed cord cutting, so she got all of that good blood that was in her cord and in the placenta was able to be delivered into her. It has been several hours since that last clip that I filmed. But things happen. Rose needed to go down for a nap, and my battery ran out in the camera, and then the SIM card was full, and then it was time to make dinner, and then Rose was hungry again. So hours passed. I have her right here on this little donut. So she's sitting right here in front of me because she wanted interaction. So we'll see how well this goes. So I think where I left off was basically she had just been born. So we were taking bets on how heavy she was going to be because Jacob was 7 pounds 6 ounces when he was born, and we all knew that she was bigger than that. We weren't sure how big she really was. With Jacob, I had been induced, I think I was almost 39 weeks. Little Rose, since I had a midwife, we weren't going to induce, and so I went to almost 41 weeks. I was 40 weeks, 6 days when little Rose was born, so I kind of figured that she was going to be bigger than Jacob at least. I was able to get a clip of us weighing her, so I'll put that in here.
What were y'all thinking this baby weighed?
We're getting guesses like 8.5.
Mm-hmm. It's gonna be a little.
Oh.
I think it's gonna be like 8
Howsoever.
Is that 9 and 8?
It should go up a little higher for me. Yeah, we're over 9.
Oh my goodness.
9.3.
Wow.
9.3.
Goodness, baby.
Last
When you
baby I
said
did
she was
was
21 inches long, I was like, my guess was wrong.
all right. She can get dressed now. That's all her things.
9 pounds 3 ounces. We were all very surprised. She was a big baby. Her head was actually smaller than her chest, which is probably why her shoulder got stuck. Because that was the widest point of her body instead of her head. 9 pounds 3 ounces, 21 inches long, so she was big and long. Do you want to say hi to the camera? Ooh. Say hi. Hi, everybody. Definitely a much more difficult delivery than with Jacob, but with Jacob I had an epidural. Now the epidural only took halfway, but I still had at least some pain management. Delivered a 9-pound baby and I survived. I feel like I could do anything. That's the story of how she was born. Other things that, you know, post-birth, we found out that she had a complete tongue tie and also a severe lip tie. She could barely cry and she couldn't really eat very well. She was able to eat those first few days before my milk came in, but when my milk came in, she just couldn't manage. She couldn't manage anymore. So she was born on a Thursday. We called on Friday to get her surgery scheduled to have the tongue tie fixed. But because it was President's Day on Monday, nobody was opened until Tuesday. So we had to go through the whole weekend plus Monday. And then on Tuesday we had the procedure. So it was a very rough first couple of days of her life. But we made it through. We got her tongue tie fixed, but she still didn't want to nurse. I mean, to be fair, I would imagine that the wounds in her mouth would be painful and she wouldn't want to nurse because of that. When she did nurse, it was exceptionally... Oh, yeah? Hi! It was exceptionally painful for me, and I ended up bleeding on both sides. And so we decided it was too much, so I stopped nursing her. I still pumped, and so we went to bottle feed until both of us healed. So at this point, we're both healed now, and I've been working with a lactation consultant to try to get her back to nursing. She's still very reluctant about it. She has a lot of tightness on her right side, probably because of the way that she sat while I was pregnant. She sat almost entirely on one side. She didn't move a whole lot from that position. And so she's really tight on her right side, and she kind of like curls up because that's what's comfortable for her muscles to sit in. So when babies nurse, they have to stretch out. So she's got a lot of muscles that don't want to cooperate, and they get very sore, and she gets very tired. So we're nursing 2 to 3 times a day, and then I pump for the rest of her feeds. I'm getting there. She doesn't hurt me anymore when she nurses, except for when she gets really tired and she's not able to nurse very effectively. Hoping soon that we'll get her back nursing 100%. Oh, what a big smile. She's just over a month old now, and she's growing like crazy. She's over 10 pounds now. As far as me, well, I had a small tear. I tore along the scar tissue for where I was cut with Jacob. A very superficial tear. It was very shallow. And so my recovery for that has been really simple and easy. Oh, something that was very different from Jacob was with Jacob. When Jacob was born, I initially lost 15 pounds just after he was born. And then over the course of the next 2 years or so, or even less than that, maybe even like 6 months or so, I had gained 5 pounds back. This time around, I lost 20 pounds within the first week. And then I've gradually lost a little bit more since then. So I was 198 the day that she was born, and I'm down to 170 now. So my pre-pregnancy weight was 160. My goal weight is 145 because that's my pre-pregnancy weight. That's what I weighed before I got pregnant with Jake. My goal is 145. I'm at 170 now. I'm in a much better position than I thought I was going to be in. I thought I was going to be in the same position like I was with Jacob, where I only lost 10 pounds and then I had to work really hard for the rest of it. That is the story of her birth. I'm thinking about doing another video for kind of my pregnancy journey and everything. Maybe I'll have another video up soon. I hope you enjoyed this rather casual talk you through some of the birth and our experiences. All in all, I would have to say I recommend a home birth. It was much less stressful than a hospital birth. Everything was just right there. I knew that the hospital was just down the road if we needed it. In my own environment, with my own pillows. I could pick whatever music I wanted to listen to. It was a very good experience all in all. I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope to make more videos soon. I'm excited to get back into the swing of making more videos now that little Rose is born. I took a nice long break. Just getting used to everything, being a mom of 2 instead of just a mom of 1. It's been a big change, but I hope you enjoyed this and I will see you next time. Bye!